Imagine you're a teenager, torn from your home, taken captive by the most powerful empire of your time, and now forced to serve the very king who destroyed your homeland. Would you stay true to what you believe? This is the world of Daniel, a young Hebrew boy brought to Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar's conquest, Daniel 1 verses 1 to 4. Babylon wasn't just any city, it was the symbol of power, wealth, and dominance. For a young captive, it was a place of pressure and temptation. Introduction: who was Daniel? Daniel was not just any captive. Although the Bible does not explicitly mention his direct genealogy, he came from a noble family in Jerusalem, educated and wise beyond his years. Daniel 1 verses 3 to 4. According to biblical genealogy, Daniel was from the tribe of Judah, the same tribe as King David. While the Bible does not explicitly state his direct lineage to David, Jewish tradition and historical records suggest that Daniel might have had a royal or noble background. Daniel 1 verse 3. The tribe of Judah was known for its leadership and was prophesied to produce kings. Genesis 49 verse 10. This connection to the royal line emphasized the significance of his captivity. Babylon had taken a representative of Judah's royalty and wisdom. His name, Daniel, means God is my judge. Daniel 1 verses 6 to 7. Even as a young teenager, Daniel had a deep sense of identity, a belief in the God of Israel that couldn't be easily shaken. The cost of captivity. Was Daniel a eunuch? Many scholars believe that Daniel and his friends were made eunuchs, a practice common for young men serving closely in the king's palace. 2 Kings 20 verse 18. If true, this meant a complete loss of his future family, dignity, and manhood. Imagine the pain and loss. Yet Daniel chose not to let bitterness take over. The Babylonians tried to strip Daniel of his identity by giving him a new name, Belteshazzar, which means Bel, protect the king, a tribute to a Babylonian god. Daniel 1 verse 7. Yet Daniel's heart remained committed to God. Daniel's companions and support. Daniel wasn't alone. His friends, Hananiah, meaning Yahweh is gracious, renamed as Shadrach, meaning command of Aku, a moon god, Mishael, meaning who is like God, renamed as Meshach, meaning who is like Aku, and Azariah, meaning Yahweh has helped, renamed as Abednego, meaning servant of Nebo, another Babylonian god, shared his faith and conviction. Daniel 1 verses 6 to 7. Together, they navigated a world that constantly tried to reshape them. They supported each other, finding strength in unity. Their bond was more than friendship. It was a partnership rooted in their shared devotion to God. In ancient times, a person's name wasn't just a label. It was a declaration of identity and destiny. What you were called often shaped how you were seen, and in some cases, how you saw yourself. By renaming Daniel and his friends, changing Daniel to Belteshazzar, Hananiah to Shadrach, Mishael to Meshach, and Azariah to Abednego, the Babylonians sought to redefine their identity and align them with Babylonian gods. Yet, despite their names being changed to reflect foreign gods, their hearts and allegiance remained committed to the God of Israel. Daniel's first test. Soon, Daniel faced his first challenge. He was offered the king's food, delicacies, and wine that symbolized Babylon's abundance. In Babylonian culture, these foods were often first dedicated to their idols, making consumption a form of participation in idol worship. Additionally, the food likely violated Jewish dietary laws outlined in Leviticus. To eat it would not only be a compromise of faith, but a symbolic acceptance of Babylonian values. But to Daniel, eating this food meant defiling himself. Daniel 1 verse 8. So, Daniel made a bold decision. He requested to eat only vegetables and water. Daniel 1 verse 12. To the Babylonians, this seemed foolish, but to Daniel, it was a stand for God. Amazingly, God honored Daniel's faith. He and his friends appeared healthier and stronger than all the other young men who ate from the king's table. Daniel 1 verse 15. Daniel's courage marked him as someone different, someone who wouldn't compromise. Why does this matter today? Standing firm in what you believe isn't easy. We live in a world today where many things that the Bible speaks against are now seen as normal, where compromise is often seen as wisdom and conviction is seen as intolerance. Issues like sexual immorality, Romans 1 verses 26 to 27, dishonesty, Proverbs 12 verse 22, greed, 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, and pride, Proverbs 16 verse 18, are often celebrated or excused. The culture often pressures us to conform to its changing standards, just as Babylon tried to reshape Daniel and his friends. The pressure to conform today can come from many directions: social media, peers, entertainment, and even educational institutions. We see the glorification of lifestyles that prioritize self over sacrifice, materialism over contentment, and instant gratification over patience. The question is, how do we stand firm when our beliefs are challenged? In ancient times, a name was more than a label. It was a mark of identity and purpose. Today, society tries to label us in ways that can shape how we see ourselves. Yet Daniel and his friends chose to let God's truth define them, not the world's labels. They didn't let the identity forced upon them become their reality. Have you ever found yourself in a position where standing firm in your faith made you seem out of place or even foolish? How do you stay true to your convictions in a world that often celebrates what God condemns? But this was just the beginning. What happens when Daniel faces a test that threatens his very life? Would his faith still stand? Stay tuned for the next episode.